Filling out the application for the Wendy's High School Heisman Award, I didn't really know that much would come.
It's teamwork. You communicate with...
What that involves is making sure I communicate and coordinate with each of the guidance departments.
We're building a ramp for someone who really
Don't
can't...
give up just because it's hard, because I had a lot of times where I thought I wasn't going to make it.
Welcome to Hometown Heroes, folks. This is Andy Kitzrow. I'm your host. Today is a special day. We get to spend a few minutes here chatting with Rodney Dawson. Rodney is zooming in with me, so it's going to be a back and forth conversation, checking in, see what he's had going on recently. Definitely a hero here from the Salisbury area, but has moved on to bigger and better things. So we're going to hear from Rodney. So Rodney, why don't you just introduce yourself? Tell us what you've been up to recently.
How you doing, guys? My name is Rodney Dawson from Salisbury, Maryland. Just like Andy said, I recently just graduated from Bowie State University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in criminal justice. So I'm in the process of finding a job in my field. Things been kind of put on hold because of the virus, but things are picking back up, so it's pretty good. I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm glad to be here with you guys as well.
So criminal justice degree, I heard you've been maybe doing some interning at the circuit courts, kind of staying in and around it when you're allowed to.
Right, yep, yes, definitely.
Okay. So Bowie State, I knew you were here in Salisbury, but moved on to Bowie State. So tell me about what that experience was like and a little bit about any of the activities that you might have been involved in when you're in college.
My time at Bowie State was great. I can definitely say that I've through relationships that I made through my time there, I've definitely grown. And before, when I first stepped on campus, by the time I was done, I was involved. First started out playing football at Bowie State University. I then went on to get involved with the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice. I joined Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and I was also involved with a program called Operation Navigation, where we were, as an upperclassman, was a mentor to incoming freshmen as well. So that was a good program, and it was kind of similar to things that I've done back at home in Salisbury. So that was good to be able to be a mentor to younger students that were getting acclimated to campus life and college life as well. So that was pretty good.
So it is an interesting thinking about your degree and what you've done and looking at the current climate and landscape in America right now, specifically around the criminal justice component or reform, as a lot of people are hoping or looking toward. What has college taught you about just that process and you know, how do you want to get involved and what type of jobs may you be looking for to either stay involved, move the conversation forward, or put your stamp on the situation by being an advocate for?
Definitely, college has taught me that people have many different point of views on different stances on whatever they might feel, but in order to move forward, we have to get people involved and people that are gonna be the voice and be an advocate for everyone, so that we're able to move forward as a society and move together as one. Through my time at Bowie, I was definitely able to I had an experience where I was able to, the Richard Collins III, he was a student at Bowie State University, and he was murdered on the campus of University of Maryland College Park. So through that time, I was able to be an advocate and give a written testimony on why hate crime bill should have been passed because of that act, and it was passed in the state of Maryland. So it's definitely been good to be able to advocate for African Americans and minorities when it comes to the justice system, and that's what I want to continue to do as well.
It's interesting, thinking back, years ago when you were in high school here, being part of the Youth Leadership Academy, being getting to be part of a leadership group among your peers, and then in college, taking an active role to kind of lead the conversation or advocate on behalf of other people, classmates, peers, and stuff like that. Let's go through a little bit of that, a bigger dive. Like, what have those experiences taught you about yourself when you've gone through it and been able to be kind of that leader or that role model or that advocate that you might not have known about yourself or want to continue to pursue?
Definitely through my time, again in Youth Leadership Academy, but I didn't really think I would have that much of an impact on people that, you know, being able to have the impact on as my peers or the younger kids as well. But it's definitely been a great experience to be able to know that just because you are a role model to somebody that you might not even know that's looking up to you, and just knowing that just because you can be a face or you can start something brand new, when you might not believe that someone is watching, there's always someone watching you and what you're doing, and that can be an inspiration to someone else.
That's great. Yeah, I'm gonna jump back into that, but I want to finish this thought about criminal justice and stuff. What's interesting is we here locally have been taking it since, you may not know, I'm now the deputy city administrator with the city of Salisbury, so I work out of the mayor's office, and we've been taking a lot of the national stuff pretty seriously here, making some big decisions, and one of those is standing up a criminal justice reform task force. And we had over 200 applicants for the serve on that, and we've narrowed it down to about 15. And next week is going to be their first meeting where they come together and start to really talk about some pretty difficult conversations. But it's really good to see that being able to happen here locally, where we can have some tough conversations, and then hopefully have positive change by everybody coming together, both young and adults, uniform, and civilian. So that's really looking forward to that conversation. And then even bringing the court system, even into it, because criminal justice isn't just about police stuff. It's also about the incarceration and the reentry program. So I think that's a pretty good piece.
Yep.
So kind of transitioning into the courts. What did you do in your internship?
So I interned at the Prince George's County State's Attorney's Office.
Okay.
And I worked in the Major Crimes Unit. So I assisted one of the special counsels for the state's attorney, and gathering information for cases, just getting information for different witnesses, meeting with witnesses, talking about their upcoming case, prepping them for trial. So it was definitely a great experience. I met many different people through that experience, and I was able to see maybe down the path, later down the line, get involved in the court system, maybe go to law school. So that was definitely an experience that I was grateful to have.
Between there's often lawyers or people within that kind of transition into politics or government and stuff like that. Have you ever thought about public service more so than private? And as a state's attorney, would you think about private law? Would you think about just being even a more advocate in a government setting, like working for a city or municipality, a county or something like that?
I think being in a political setting like public or county, I think that would be great, because I would also have the opportunity to interact with individuals from the community. And also, I think it's good when you're able to interact for the people in the community and help them to, whatever issues they may have, and you can kind of work with them. I think it's always good to have that community involvement and being involved with the individuals from your community or wherever you're at and residing.
Great. So shifting away from criminal justice for a little bit, let's talk about football. Okay. Tell us about what that experience was like, going from high school to collegiate, and time commitment, people you met, what you learned about yourself. What was that experience like?
Okay, transitioning from high school to college was definitely a challenge. The higher you get up, the more responsibility you have, the more time it takes. So it's definitely it takes some adjusting to get into being a collegiate student athlete, because it's basically all day type of thing. It's all year round basically, and you have classes, then you're going to film study, meetings. After the season's over, after the season's over, you probably have about 2 or 3 weeks. You have your winter break, or whenever you're done with winter break, you come back, and in that week you're back with winter workout. So it's definitely can be a challenging time. It's definitely you reveal some things about yourself that you probably didn't know before, and it tests your love for whatever sport that you have, because in college you really have to love what you do, because it takes up so much time, and that can be very, very attest to your dedication to the game. But I'm grateful for the relationships that I've gained from my athletic career at Bowie, and also my 2018 season we won the conference championship, so I was able to get a ring for that season as well. So it was definitely great, and just interacting with the different students on campus as well as alumni, being part of the football team. So,
you ever thought about in future if you wanted to coach, give back, mentor youth around football or any sports program, or even some of the leadership now that you've graduated and you're kind of in the transition, continuing with your volunteering or your service or any of that stuff?
Right. I definitely think about coaching, going back and coaching, just getting that impact on the youth and giving back to the game what the game has done for me. I think that's pretty good, just sharing my knowledge of what I've learned throughout the years since I've been playing football since I was 7. Just giving back and investing that into the youth. So I feel like that would be something I would definitely be interested in doing in the future.
Let's go up a little bit higher, broader. I mean, you grew up Salisbury area, went away to Bowie State, kind of in the PG County. I wouldn't say they're completely different, but they're definitely different in size and scope, and stuff like that. Same problems, different issues, different scenarios. You like that area? Would you come back to the Eastern Shore? Kind of what's that future look like for you?
I like.
You don't know yet. I mean, whoever hires me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Wherever my job search takes me, but it was definitely. There's definitely some differences between growing up in Salisbury and then going to Bowie State and PG in Prince George's County. I would definitely say it's kind of like fast. It's a faster pace up there, like being so close to the DC Baltimore metropolitan area. So it's definitely. I'm definitely open to. I always wanted to come back and give back to the community where I've grown up at. But I'm open to locate wherever job search takes me. So, but yeah.
So you got a few years under your belt, kind of an adult now. What would you tell your high school self?
I would tell my high school self to. That's a good question.
What would you tell him? What would you not tell him?
I would just tell my high school self to take advantage of whatever opportunities you have, whether it be any involvement in the community, just networking with different types of people, because you never know who you might come across, and whatever you might you could use that person as a resource later down the line. So just enjoying every moment of being in high school and preparing yourself for what you want to do in the future and whatever your plans might be. I think sometimes it's okay to not know exactly what you want to do coming out of high school, but it's always good to have an idea so that you can start building towards that what you want to do.
You just graduated in May-ish? Yeah, I mean, tell me about this experience from, I hear it from some locals, but I haven't really had a detailed conversation with. You didn't think going into college, your graduation from college ceremony was going to look and feel, or just the whole process, and even the transition into the real world after college was going to look like this because of a pandemic. How's that hit you, your classmates, your friends, family, and just having to kind of navigate this once in a lifetime, hopefully, situation?
Right.
It's kind of the worst time to be coming out of college, but also there's a lot to be learned and a lot of growth opportunity there.
Mm-hmm. It was definitely tough beginning that kind of having an idea that you probably wouldn't have had the in-person ceremony graduation, but I would say my university, Bowie State University, did a great job with taking that transition from in-person classes to making it online and virtual. At first it was kind of tough because, it's kind of takes some time getting used to operating the whole Zoom things, and, because you don't have that in-person interaction with your professors, or if you have questions, it has to be virtual. But I said it was a great transition, and not having an in-person graduation was kind of tough at first, but I feel like the virtual ceremony, it was so well put together that it felt as though, and the celebration was celebrated the graduating class very, very well. But it's, this is a different time. Hopefully we were able to move forward. But I say during the COVID-19, it's definitely I've definitely learned more things about myself. I picked up new hobbies, things that I wasn't doing before the pandemic, and I feel like that's what I kind of can take it something negative and turn it into a positive.
Silver lining there.
Right.
Yeah, 2020 has definitely been an interesting year. I mean, from everything that's happened within. I mean, you kind of start to think back of everything that's happening. Like, wow, that also happened this year. That happened this year. So it's an interesting. It's definitely been a trying year. We move out of this. You get a job. Things are kind of back to normal. Any other big kind of future goals, plans that you kind of take it one day at a time with everything?
Eventually, I was thinking about starting, maybe down the line, but starting like a nonprofit for just like a program around the community, but something that's pertaining to the justice system, whether it be re-entering the community for previous.
Incarceration.
Yes, previous offenders or whatever, just so that they can have the resources that they need. Because sometimes, past offenders, they don't have, when they're released from prison and re-enter the community, they don't have the proper resources that they need in order to make that transition back into the community so that they are able to become productive citizens. So I was thinking about maybe a nonprofit down the line for that, or something involving the youth, and so that they're able to have the resources and that they're able to do different things that they want to do, and just having different mentorships and stuff like that. So
when you were in the state's attorney's office doing that internship and sound like some of the stuff, major crimes, you probably came across some people your age, younger than you, potentially like, man, had my life taken a turn here or there, I had not had that role model here or there.
Right.
You wouldn't think you could have been that person, but you might have been, or you might have even known people who'd fallen into that. What was that experience like from, and then understanding that those people are going to now have to navigate potentially this re-entry into it once they do the their incarceration period? Was it eye-opening just to come across the people and the whole situation that either caught you by surprise or reaffirmed things you already knew?
It's kind of eye-opening. It was just thinking about how these individuals were put in situations where they maybe they didn't have the proper resources growing up, or that mentorship that they needed in order to maybe that would have helped them to have that person to say, hey, it's another way to doing things. You don't have to go down this path for something. So I've always been grateful for the people that I've had along the journey, because it takes a village. It doesn't, it's not just one person to. So I'm definitely grateful for everybody that I've had during my time growing up in my youth years, and as well I still have now. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was definitely an eye-opening experience. So yeah, that was. Yeah.
So if you had to summarize, let's take the last 5 years, wrap them up. What have you, I guess, maybe learned about yourself through college life, through collegiate football, leader on the field and off the field, participating in some of these volunteer activities on campus in your community? And then the pandemic. What are some just things that you might have learned about yourself, if anything kind of comes to mind?
I would say that past 5 years, I definitely feel like I've been kind of diverse in what I've done. So I think going into basically 2016, going into my freshman year of college, I said I just didn't want to be an athlete, or just, I wanted to be well-rounded and have done different things. So I think knowing that, I would probably say I've learned about myself is that I've been able to, it's just having an opportunity to have doing multiple things. So I feel like that's always good to not just, be well-rounded. So I feel like I've learned that about myself, and to just be reactive.
Now you can juggle more stuff than, you can do multiple things at once.
Right.
I know you listed off several things that you volunteered with or were involved in, and you mentioned one I have not hit on, or a couple I didn't hit on. Any of the other things that you had mentioned that you wanted to just shout out, some things you did in college that you think would be just good discussion topic?
So I was my freshman year at Bowie State. I was in something called Scholar Studio. They had a program called Scholar Studio, and I was taking 2 classes, psychology and criminal justice, introduction to criminal justice. So through that program, we were able to take a trip to Montreal, Quebec, and we met with so in Montreal, Quebec, they have something called like a program that it's kind of a different way of a justice system, where it's not retribution, but they focus on basically healing the offender. So we met with somebody from a place called Wasuskian Healing Center, a representative from there. He met with us and talked to us about their way of the justice system as opposed to the United States and how we do things here. And that was also a great experience. I traveled with my peers and just had a new experience in a new country. So that was really good. It was a great experience.
It's interesting to see how people, even as close as Canada, do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just think, oh, this is the American way of life. This is how everybody does it. But definitely in, whether it's healthcare or it's criminal justice system, or just even leadership all the way down from the style of command in the country, there's definitely, if you have the opportunity, I would say if you have the opportunity to travel international before you have to really settle down, it's good to see different perspectives.
Right.
One of the things that always pops up is, along the journey, you've got these role models that you have: high school coach, college coach, professor, intern, leader, something. Anybody stand out that really helped you kind of stay on that path, or just help you move forward?
I'll definitely say it's been multiple people. I say that's kind of hard to just take out one person. I would say my high school coaches, my parents, professors, just the people that I've had as young as, with Youth Leadership Academy, where I met you, or Dr. Whitehead, it was definitely Miss Paula. Definitely were just, having those, just sitting down with the youth, and it was just empowering to see the things that we were able to do. It started out just meeting, a couple, like once a week or twice a week, and planning for a program over the summertime. And those were definitely. I look back and I say, wow, that was really a great experience, and to have that as basically as a stepping stone, and to build off of that. And it's definitely kind of made me open my eyes up to different things, and how great of an impact you can have on your community. So
it's great to be able to have youth at a young, giving them the opportunity, the platform to not only program something for peer-led Leadership Academy, but also to just get the opportunity to serve in that capacity.
Right.
And it doesn't look the same anymore as it did when you were part of it. There's still some people dabbling in it, but speaking of and reflecting on that, why is it important to be able to have youth, high school youth, maybe even middle school, involved in civics engagement, or just leadership, giving them opportunities? Why is that important?
I feel like it's important because through that you're able to see people that maybe might not be your parents' age, but a little younger. They're a little younger. They're not too far out from your age, doing things that they are doing positive things in the community. And through, I would say, one of the things that stood out to me personally was while I was in Youth Leadership Academy and the Youth Action Team was that, on the last day of the Youth Leadership Academy, we were able to sit down and meet and have a discussion with community leaders, local community leaders, and that was always big because you had people that were, had a voice in the community and that were making these decisions in the community, and we were able to sit down and discuss, things that, get to know them personally and have that, personal connection with them that we might not have had while we were through our time with, without that program. So.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it. I mean, I wanted to kind of narrow in on that, just that experience, because there's a Leadership Academy, but then you mentioned the Youth Action Team, that the ability to kind of be that peer leader. Tell me a little bit more about that experience. Did it open doors? Did it help you think in that Bowie State transition to be either just get into that university, to feel confident navigating the college campus? Just tell me about a little bit more about that experience and maybe how it impacted your college life or your life today.
It definitely impacted my college life and today as well, because with the Youth Action Team, it was a group of peers my age, and we would sit down, we would meet and discuss and plan and organize different activities, different ideas that would ever come to mind, just bouncing ideas off of each other. And it basically built teamwork and basically building team. I'm trying to find a word. I'm sorry.
Collaboration.
Collaboration. And, so that was definitely. I took that and used that. Was able to use that in college with different organizations that I was involved with, and my leadership roles that I was involved with, to basically team building, the importance of team building and bouncing off ideas with each other to come up with something, on a bigger scale. So that was definitely good.
Yeah. So my only closing thought I really had, Rodney, we got a couple minutes left, is, the whole purpose of this show is to highlight people from our community, young people, whether it's before and after, just this kind of comprehensive, where the people who are giving back, the people who are getting involved, and then just kind of tracking them along their early stages of their career and their college life, and just understanding the importance of service. So in just your kind of closing idea, why is it important to volunteer, serve your community, your fellow peers and stuff why is that important?
It's important to serve because I feel like it's always great to give back to the community that gave into you or put back into the community, because you never know the impact that you can have on someone's life. I feel like it's great to give, always serve. Service is a big word and has so much power to it. To be a service unto others is always great, and to not expect anything in return, but just doing it out of the goodness of your heart. I feel like it's always great, and to be able to do that, in your own community or wherever community that you're currently at, it's always to use. Always great to use your resources, because you may be better off than someone else, but to be able to give back into them and to maybe help bring someone else up where you are right now. So
that's great. Rodney, hey, I really appreciate you jumping on here and joining me today, and it's really good to catch up. And I wish you the best of luck in your job hunt and your search. We'd love to have you back, and we've got spaces to get you involved if you come back to Salisbury. But hey, thanks for jumping on, and good luck navigating the rest of the pandemic and the season.
All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, folks, this is Hometown Heroes, another online episode. Our first, hopefully, of many. But we're glad you're able to join us today, and we'll see you next time.